Hello everyone, and welcome to my spoiler review of this year's Dune. With the second part now having officially been greenlit, I figured it's a good time to do a deep dive into Denis Villeneuve's adaptation of this landmark novel by Frank Herbert, so let's open it up. And before the W.B. Vanity play comes up, I really like the native language and tribal motifs in Hans Zimmer's music. The opening text sets up the story, which takes place in the distant future of the year 10,191. Get some fantastic shots of the planet Arrakis, along with some narration by one of the planet's natives. The Fremen Johnny, played by Zendaya. I mentioned before, but apart from the change in background to match our casting, portrayal is accurate to the book. I'll get into more detail later. The Fremen people are caught in between two other factions for a resource known as Spice Malone, which is going to do everything from enhance one's physical and mental abilities to enabling fast and light travel. Even just viewing this at home, the film has an impressive blend of both CGI and practical special effects work, building on what the director learned from both Blade Runner 2049 and Arrival. The film cost $165 million, and you see every bit of that money on the screen. As mentioned before, while this film does humor faithfully a book, it also takes some concepts from a 1984 film that I could tell they wanted to do, but limited by technology at their time. One example is a steel suit worn by Nicolas Rabon, played by Dave Bautista. Once again, I don't know about the speed with the bathtub analogy, but even just watching this again at home, it's visually stunning. Paul Atreides, played by Timothée Chalamet, wakes from his dream, which will be important. Though he's a bit older than the 15 Polish guys in the book, he at least looks young enough to pass for that age. On the homeworld of Caladan, he has his mother, Lady Jessica, Bene Gesserit, played by Becca Ferguson, so you wait the rival there, his father, the Duke, played by Oscar Isaac, and his Harold. Already liking how the folks handling their cast in the other houses. Points out before, there was an office someone approached that Song of Ice and Fire in its day and age. The voice will be important as to keep how an original story. Also like how Paul's books and recordings give more detail about the world of Arrakis. It's more effective visuals narration having to give out pamphlets at the theater. The Duke arrives alongside Gurney Halleck, played by Josh Brolin, and Thufir Hawat, played by Stephen Henderson. Also Duncan Idaho, played by Jason Momoa. The actor's quite adamant about his desire to work with Denis on this film. I'm glad it paid off. Though Powell cannot join the advanced team with Duncan on Arrakis, he does confer his dream into him before sparring from Gurney. It's another element I could tell from the original we want to do, but they were limited by technology at their time. It's like going from an Intellivision to a PS5. Elsewhere, on the Harkonnen homeworld of Giedi Prime, we are introduced to the Baron, played by Stellan Skarsgård in this film. As Rabon confers with his uncle, he's clearly unimpressed with how the balance shifted on Arrakis. Even though this film doesn't show that much of the Baron, this film is a far better take on the character than the previous one. It also applies to Pierre de Vries, played Dave Dalmaskian. So WB film enjoy it with him in this year, along with the Suicide Squad. Back with Paul, he's given us a character that's a crucial scene in the story. It's overseen by the Reverend Mother Gauls Helen Mohiam, played by Charlotte Rampling. She has truth to say and lays out the actors' film and the story. Fear is the mind killer. Thus have the physician on standby, Dr. Wellington Yue, played by John Chen. The test involves he put his hand in a box where her mother holds a poison needle on his neck. If he moves his hand, he dies. He passes the test with a little more than 2 scrapes on his knuckles, and it's easily one of the best scenes in the film. Jessica summoned, and Paul tells her mother about his dreams and how the bullet may produce a Kwisatz Haderach. The time has come for Paul to join the rest of his house on Arrakis, and I just love this shot of their ship rising in the water that he has definitely built on what he's learned working on his previous films, such as Blade Runner 2049. He joins Haynes' father, Duke Leto, and Gurney as their ship arrives on Arrakis. Paul also confirms with Hawat, and while they're all glad to see each other again, their reception from people is much colder. Also clear the House of Harkonnen has also still laid claim to the planet. Boarding craft known as ornithopters, Paul is informed that Bene Gesserit have visited there as well. We also get a bit of the book's subtext, and I was curious how this film would handle that, but more on that later. I will say the colonies built on Arrakis is simply stunning, especially leading on Gurney to survey their operations. Especially on the space refinery and spaceport, with the loss either or both being the end of them all. They just given a crysknife by the natives, a symbol of what lies ahead. Need to be ready for violence, quote unquote, is won by the natives. Paul goes to see the gardener That's probably the day Paul was a great character moment as his story unfolds. Paul listens to another document about the sandworms, and much like the counterparts in the previous film, I am glad a new generation has discovered their meta potential, such as a tweet about two pheromones pointing. The sandwalk will also be important later. Anyway, Paul narrowly evades a hunter-seeker attempt on his life, and they find what's actually operating the crawl space. Leo demands the one who tried to kill his heir be found. Back at the house of Harkonnen, Peter meets with Reverend Mother in secret, alongside the Baron. As was subjects as the novel Harkonnens, along the previous one as well. I know the book much as I love what was 1965, and I totally understand why this one made some changes to focus different aspects of the characters. So even in this phase of the story, Skarsgård's performance is harrowing. Paul's in a war room with Leto and Gurney to plan the next move, as well as spice silos to see what to do next. Duncan begins the story, and the trio are glad to see their trusted friend ally again. They also meet with their Fremen contact Stilgar, played by Javier Bardem. He spits on the floor, and I am amused by how the Duke thanks him for the gift of moisture, quote-unquote. Though Gunny is reluctant, both Leto and Hawat agree to give him time. That night, Paul is given a pair of compass before the journey in the desert the next morning. Once I really love how the still suits are shown in this movie, and Midnight's Edge pointed on their podcast are basically the evolution of the science fiction movie. I may not agree with everything they say, but they did provide me with information I wasn't otherwise known about. Just about an hour in, I must say, the scene of them in the crawl is impressive. It's definitely a film to make a case for the actual experience still having value, and to show off your home theater setup. I'm really going to enjoy talking about the next hour and a half. Paul gets a big taste of Spice Melange, and his client's able to escape from the sandwich just in time. I can only wonder how those look like in IMAX. Paul has another dream, one that will be important about this film and the narrative overall. Elsewhere, in the Imperial Army plan of Salusa Secundus, a ceremony is held for the Harkonnen troops before the journey to Arrakis. That night, the trio's compound is attacked with Dr. Yue kidnapping Leto in the process. And it's a very explosive start to the halfway point. It's a very spectacular battle, and Yue also outfits the Duke with a prestigious poison capsule in his tooth. With Paul just got captured, but able to take control of their transport via the voice. Leto is taken to the den of Harkonnens, and Dr. Yue is killed by the Baron. Paul's family's ring as Leto activates a poison capsule, scarring the Baron, and killing most of his council in the process. Paul and Jessica make camp, able to regroup with Duncan and Stilgar after the attack on their compound. Such another escape, with Duncan sacrificing himself so the others can get away. But as I said before, when talking about Cyber's character in Jessica's Justice League, and it applies here too. His sacrifice is vastly improved in the previous movie. Their craft is damaged and crashed down in the desert, with Paul and Jessica survive and need to find out the next move. Few options left. Paul decides to forge an alliance with Fremen Shawnee in his dreams. Fortunately, and I forgot to mention, they have another ally with ties with Fremens, Talia Kynes, played by Sharon Duncan Brewster. As the Harkonnens prepare to go to Arrakis, Paul must prove his worth to the Fremens in single combat with a crysknife. This is my favorite part, and the biggest improvement from the previous adaptation, the battle in the weirding way. The 1984 her film replaced martial arts action with blaster-esque weirding modules. We love how this film found a way to make it work. As someone who saw a reasonable amount of people in the theater when I saw Shang-Chi in Mortal Kombat this year, I don't think the Kung Fu on sand dunes in this part it would be a deterrent. Paul wins a duel, and the Fremen's trust in the process. This first part of the story, while I see the next one at home or in theaters, I'm eager to experience it. Though I regrettably could not reread the book post review as I wanted to, the fact that this film inspired so many people to read the book is definitely a good sign of the second part, which is now officially on track for October 2023. Wherever I am when I see it, I'll be eager to address it. Right now, I will keep enjoying this film. I can understand why the 1984 film was called classic, but if you haven't seen the adaptation and enjoyed the book, this is the version you want to see. It may not be my favorite film this year, but it's definitely an honorable mention. That's all for now. I'll see you all in December when I look at Matrix sequels ahead of Matrix Resurrections. Take care, everyone.